Hey everybody, it's Andy. Welcome to my weekly show where I help you build a career you love. And today we got a great one. We're going to talk about secrets to finding your job at the end of the year. I got some year-end job searching secrets, loads of fun. And in particular, we're also going to talk about 3 great tips for finding your job at the end of the year or the beginning of a new year. I've got a lot going on today. We've got a 14-day challenge that we're actually going to do together. I've got about 5 or 6 freebies. 'Tis the season. I'm very excited. I give stuff away a lot throughout the year, but I'm extra generous around the holidays. And in spirit of the holidays, I actually wore my lumberjack shirt for you today because if you could see the rest of my house, it literally looks like a buffalo dressed in plaid ran through it and threw up everywhere. I've got black and red, and we got green and red everywhere. I got I actually turned my camera around today. You're looking at the other side of my office. I got one of the 8 or Christmas trees that are in my house behind me. Not 8. No, nobody has 8 Christmas trees in their house, but we do have 4. We do have 4. That's one of them on this level of the house. So, and I had nothing to do with putting it up, but I'm in the spirit. I'm in a giving mood. I'm thrilled to have you with me, and I've got a lot of great stuff for you today. And I have a new thing. Every week now, I decided that I'm going to show up to live office hours with a mug that matches my outfit. Wait, can you see that? How close is that? So I got my latte. I'm ready to roll. We're going to talk about these tips. We're going to talk about the secrets. We're going to talk about some myths. We're going to talk about the challenge. But before we get into all of that, I've been thinking a lot about this lately. It's been on my mind. I know it's been on your mind because I've been getting a lot of emails about it, and people have been sharing a lot of great stuff with me on the blog, on the YouTube channel, in my email, where they're using this one word. And somebody emailed me the other day. I hadn't gotten an email from him before. He used this word, and it really touched me, and I wanted to share this with you, and it bears on today's discussion. It's a wonderful topic, I think, to warm us up because of the time of year it is. And it's a lesson in and of itself and things that I go through, and I hope you can apply it to your career and your life in general, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So I wanted to share this with you to give us a running start. Whenever I undertake any kind of task, whatever the task is, whether it's something even small or a big project, or if I'm going to write a book, or when I changed careers or made some career pivots, I always think about, before I take the step, whatever it is, before I take that first step, I always make sure that I clarify for myself what the success metric is that I'm going to use. So I'm going to undertake something, and how am I going to define my success? If that is dialed in correctly, you will likely be very happy and be very clear about why you're doing it and what matters to you. But I also go as far as writing down what I'm not going to consider success, where I might be susceptible to measuring myself against that. So a few years back, when I decided I was going to make a concerted effort to become a coach in this format, where I'm going to be offering live stuff to you, downloads for you, articles, blog posts, videos, podcasts, training programs, and all that good stuff, I had to become clear about what was going to define victory for me. And one of the things that was not going to define victory for me was that I was going to teach you the steps, and that it was my goal to have you follow the steps that I taught in the sequence in which I taught them, in the way in which I wanted you to execute them, and so on. A lot of trainers measure themselves that way. That's not something that I consider victory for me. Another thing, and this may sound a little weird to you, but hang in there with me, is when I look at your goals and the goals that you set for yourself, your ability to accomplish your goal, I'm not going to let that be my victory, whether you achieve your goal or not. Don't get me wrong, I want to do everything I possibly can. I'll give you every asset that I have, as much time as I can possibly afford, to get you to where you want to go on your journey. But the goals that you set for yourself, there's entirely too much out of your control. There's a lot more I can't control. I don't even know if you're setting the proper goals for yourself, and so on. So that's just not something that I consider the measurement of victory for me. But there is a holy grail that I have, that I wrote down 3 years ago, that I keep in mind and look at every week. And this is what I'm leading up to, is that if I can teach you whatever it is that I teach you, and it opens your eyes to ideas and ways you can execute it and things you can try, and you go through the process, and it raises your level of confidence in your ability to try or to take that first step or take those chances or run the risk or whatever. If I've raised your confidence, that is my victory. That is my victory. And I got an email the other day from Amato. I don't know if he's here. I know he shows up at these because he told me so in the email. He's 62 years old. He said, I've been following you for a number of months. I come to some of the shows. I read your stuff. I try your things. You encouraged me to get out there, get in motion, and do these things. I started applying for these jobs, even though I was overqualified for them. And while I was in motion and doing this, because I have a lot to offer and I want to work, I got a call from a nice recruiter lady who worked for the parent company of the company that I was applying to. And she said, hey, I see you're applying for these jobs that you're obviously overqualified for. How about we talk about this job that I have for this parent company that owns the company that you've been applying to, because I think that could take advantage of your skills and your experience. How about that? Hello, new job. And on he goes. And so, he talked about it raising his confidence level to try to get in motion. And I always tell you that it's easier to redirect an object in motion than it is a stationary one. So that's what today is going to be about. I want to give you some insight that will open your eyes to things that are incredibly second nature to me and probably completely foreign to you. But once we talk about them, I think it's going to open your eyes. It's going to give you a new way of thinking. You're going to be able to pay attention better. You're going to be on higher alert. You're going to put it in motion. You're going to become more nimble, and you're going to be better positioned to get that job once you understand it. And I think you're going to say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just wouldn't have thought about it. So I want to bring that stuff to the surface, because I think once you start understanding what's happening behind the scenes, you're going to become more confident and you're going to know you can. So that's a big part of what today's about. I'm going to give you the insider secrets. We're going to go through the 3 tips. We're going to go through the 14-day challenge and so on. Now, place I always like to start is with the myths about this time of year. Wait, I got to take a sip of my triple shot latte out of my Buffalo plaid coffee mug that my wife and I got at Hobby Lobby the other day. Okay, so I get a lot of, hey, should I mail it in this time of year? Because everybody's on vacation and companies aren't doing this and that and the other thing, and everything moves slowly and so on. Well, first thing you got to know is right now is my favorite time. Favorite time of the year, December, January, and February, to look for a new job. As a recruiter, this is happening now. My phone is ringing off the hook with referrals from people who got my name, from somebody who's worked with me, because these people work for companies and they're hiring people and they need to get going and all that good stuff. So it's happening now. It's happening now. And one thing that I want you to make sure that you can do is I want you to get out in front of the panic that employers are now going to start to have, because they need people in the seats, in the projects, and all that good stuff off in January for a fast start. So if you can become and position yourself to be more nimble than a lot of other people who either are stuffing their face with their holiday food, they assume that this is not a good time to be searching. They are waiting to find out if they're getting that promotion. They're waiting to collect their bonus. They're waiting to find out if they're going to be able to transfer units or whatever. Those people are in delay mode. They are going to be slower to react. And the other thing is, those individuals, if they are actually interviewing at the moment, are also likely to be more costly for employers because they have bonuses that they anticipate. They want the employers to buy out the bonus if they want them to start earlier, and those kind of things. So if you can position yourself to be the low-hanging awesomeness that's in the front of the line for those employers who are going to get ready to start filling those seats either this month or in January or in December or in January, you're going to be way ahead of the game. So let's talk about some of these insider secrets. And this first one, I want you to be aware of it. So I'm going to give you a little secret. Then I'm going to tell you what I want you to do. The first one here, we got the note cards, is I want you to be aware and on alert for new jobs. I'm not talking about a career change. I'm talking about the fact that this time of year, for whatever reason, employers decide that they want to be creative in December and January. They want to try new stuff. I don't know what happens between February and November. I don't really care. But right now, December and January, they want to be creative. They want to try new things. This didn't work last year. Maybe we ought to rearrange the team. Maybe we need a person who's a hybrid of this, or we bifurcate that, or whatever. So there are a lot of things related to jobs, and let's call it job descriptions, positions, new positions, those kind of things. This is especially important if you are an executive or if you are a very versatile resource where you can do a number of things. Business analyst, project manager, so on. Technologist who has a multidiscipline approach or knows many technologies. Marketing person who knows 4 of the 9 different ways to market. Those kinds of things. You should be on high alert for that. So that's the first thing that I want you to think about, is that more so than the other, say, 10 months of the year, the 10 months of the year between February and November, December and January is when companies feel creative. There's new inspirations, there's new budgets, there's new projects. So they take chances. And they start to try to think out of the box. So here's what I want you to do. If you are in the interviewing process, this first one is not necessarily something new. It's something that I want you to put a more concerted effort into doing, which is targeting organizations. So regardless of who you are, I've talked at length in other videos and in my job search masterclass and in a whole bunch of other stuff about the balance of how much time you should spend identifying organizations, targeting them, and so on. But what I want you to do now is I want you to go nuts. I want you to go absolutely crazy and make your primary focus, no matter who you are, concentrate on targeting organizations. If you do not know how to put a target company list together, back in January, so 10, 11 months ago, I did a live office hours on how to create a target company list for your job search. So I want you to go and I want you to identify organizations. This is going to be part of the challenge. I'm not giving this away, but I want you to focus more on that. Now, you might say, well, Andy, geez, you tell us to do that all the time. I do, but I want you to do it excessively now. And the bigger point I want to make on this is part B, which is I need you, in the spirit of what I mentioned about being open to the new jobs, is I need you to adjust your covers. I need you to adjust your cover letters, your emails, your introductions about yourself, your elevator pitches, you name it. I need you to adjust them. So let's step back a little bit, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean. If you've been following me, I know some of you come here every week, and I know some of you watch my videos, and I've got a number of them on cover letters. I've got several different cover letters that I recommend for different occasions. If you are not familiar with them, there's a whole cover letter playlist. Go knock your socks off. And in those cover letters, there's typically one point that is a common thread among all of them. That is, you need to hammer your highlight, who you are at the core and where your area of expertise is. And usually I only want you focusing on one thing, which is what you do the best, or what you did the best that was in relation to that organization and what it is that they either need from a product and service support standpoint or from a position standpoint. One. But this time of year, here's what I want you to do. Because there are so many opportunities for you to actually get plucked into a new role or be pulled into an organization because of your secondary or tertiary skill, you need to expand your cover letters to highlight your versatility. Feel free to use that word in the cover letters. Versatile, range, including, and then list out the skills that you have. So maybe it's the 3 skills, not the one major skill that you have. Because what'll happen is people are going to look at you and they want versatile resources in the beginning of the year. They're not sure how things are going to go. They might want to create those new positions. They might hire you because you're a great cultural fit. You got good foundational abilities, and one of the skills or experiences you have, even though it's not your primary one, could be the reason that they pull you into the organization or invite you in for the interview. So that's the detraction. So watch your cover letters. The next thing is, because I know you are all putting my tactics in play in the interview. So now you get the interview. What do you do there? I need to look at my note card first. Okay, I want you to be on high alert. I want you to ask. I want you to ask about this. So here's what I mean. So the first thing is, when you get into the interview, and I know you may be going in for a particular position. Even if you're going in just for a position, you got the job description in hand, I don't care. When you get in there, I need you to be paying attention to what it is they're speaking about, what their project goals are, what this particular person is going to do for the organization, is going to do for the organization. But I also want you to pay attention to see if you're picking up on things that they're dropping where you have skills in these other areas that you might be able to speak to. The other thing that you can do is I want you to ask them when it's your time to ask questions. Say, hey, you know what? I know it's the end of the year. It's the beginning of a new year. I know a lot of companies, they're starting new projects. They're hiring different types of individuals. They're trying to come up with new and creative positions. Is this company, is your company doing any of that? That maybe the jobs aren't out there yet, or you're still trying to craft them, or are you doing anything differently? Ask them that. Ask them that. You will be wildly amazed at the stuff that they'll tell you that you couldn't find on their website, that you couldn't find a job that was open, that perfectly fit you, nicely wrapped and all. So just ask them about that. And you might also hear them talk about something that is a fit for you that they might not be ready to hire for yet. And you might be in the middle of a process for one thing that may or may not work out. But if it doesn't work out, there's something I want you to do a little later. But these are things I want you to be paying extra special attention to. Things at the end of the year, because of their hiring for the new year, and at the new year because they're hiring for the new year, things are much more dynamic than they are the other 10 months of the year. So I want you to be on high alert, and I want you to make an explicit effort to ask for that. All right. I also want to go on to my next thing. Here's another one that I often tell you to do, but I want you to do this like on steroids. I want you to network like crazy. Now, I've talked to you about networking. I've told you how important it is if you are a junior or younger resource, or if you are a senior or older resource, and that you have more than a 1 in 4 chance of finding your job through somebody you know if you earn less than 100,000 or you're under 50. And I've also talked to you about you having about a 1 in 2 chance, 46%, if you are an older worker over 50 or you earn more than $100,000. And then I also talked to you about targeting your networking. In fact, I've got a video coming out in a couple of days on job search networking, and then I want you to do it in a targeted fashion. That's how I would normally teach it. But for this time of year, I want you to go nuts. I want you to call every person that you know. And the one different thing about this time of year that you don't have at your disposal at any other time of the year, truly at any other time, and I'm talking about because of the cluster of holidays, whether they're U.S.-based holidays or everybody or whatever you celebrate, I don't care. But Thanksgiving, all the holiday season, the new year, and so on, all of that stuff gives you a great excuse to reach out to anyone that you want. Now, if you can do it in a targeted fashion, go ahead. But you should be spending a tremendous amount of time networking right now, calling everybody you know and using the holiday excuse if you need to. So if you've been bad at networking and you haven't been keeping up with these people, but you need to talk to them now because they can help facilitate your job search, I want you to call them and say, hey, 'tis the season. I'm reaching out to all my pals and my colleagues, and I'm trying to reconnect with people. I know I've been bad at this, but I want to connect. Can we have dinner, coffee, cocktails, ball game? I don't care what you do. But use the excuse because the excuse is there for you to use. And that way, you don't have to ask them for anything. Just say, hey, listen, I want to get together. I'd love to talk with you. Then when you do get together, I think there's where I've taught you before about how to get them to help you with your job search in potentially connecting you with an opportunity. But this time what I want you to do, in addition to that, if it may be, is I want you to gather intelligence. I want you to ask them, what are people doing at your company? What are they hiring for? What area seems to be hot? Have you heard of anything? Do you know of anything? Hey, just want to let you know I'm looking and all that good stuff. But if you gather some intelligence and you really get a feel for what's going on out there, you will be amazed at who will connect you with whom for whatever. So it's okay to be a little bit more aggressive. Hold on one second. I just want to, okay, there we go. Just wanted to make sure. I saw something beeping at me. Sorry about that. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you're doing that. It is okay to be more aggressive in the networking. So this here again, detraction from what I normally teach you. But if you could line up 2 people a day for the rest of the year and for the first and second week of January, go do that. Go do that. Get on the phone with them. I don't care what you're doing. Make the time, because if it's important to you, then make the time. The other thing is people are lazier around the holidays. They're around. They're not working nearly as hard. They take more coffee breaks, right? They work half days. They go shopping. Go shopping with them if you have to. Do whatever you have to do, but it's there. Trust me. Don't assume people are not working. Don't assume people are not around, and don't assume people don't want to talk to you. Okay, so I want you to go nuts. All right, number three. There are 2 kinds of companies this time of year. It's just like this all year, but they're especially like this now. 2 types. There are the panickers, and there are the ones that are overly patient. Rarely do you find a company who's got it dialed in appropriately. So you tend to have companies that are in panic mode and companies that are overly patient. What do I mean by this? Okay. Those that are panicking, they need to hurry and find people before January starts. You know, the kind where, like, if your butt isn't in the seat on January 2nd, the project is already behind because somebody's not working the stuff. Okay? And they're so panicked because it's, well, right now that we're recording this, November 29th, or whenever you're watching this, I don't know. But they know that people are out on holiday. They know that the hiring officials aren't always where they need them to be. Anyway, they're starting to scramble. Then you have the other side of the coin. These people are the ones that are patient. They think, well, January, we're going to get lots of candidates and we'll be able to take our time and really vet them and come in with the perfect person, which is actually wrong, but that's what they think. I don't care what those companies do. I just want you to be aware that basically those are the kinds of behaviors that occur right now. Okay, so what can you do? Well, the thing that's most important for you is I want you to know which type of company you're dealing with. Which type of company you're dealing with. Are they a panicker and they're in a hurry, or are they patient and waiting it out? Don't assume that they would tell you that. So, because I don't want you to assume that, what do I want you to do? Well, I want you to ask them when and what happens. When and what happens. How often do you ask a company, when do you want to make this hire by? What's the date? What happens if you don't have somebody on that date? What happens? How many of you, I don't know, raise your hands, yell at me in the chat. How many of you actually ask those questions when you go to interview? But I'll tell you what, how beautiful is this? You're in a screen with a recruiter or an HR person or the email or whatever, and you say, hey, I'm just curious, what is your target hire date? Perfectly acceptable question. What happens if you don't have the person by that day? So if they say, well, I need somebody to, it's November 29th, I need somebody to start on January 2nd, otherwise the project's going to fall behind. Panicker. Well, everybody's out for the holidays, and so I'm the recruiter, and I'm starting to get this in motion. I'm starting to build up the candidate pipeline, so on, recruiter jargon, and so on. And, we really expect interviews to really pick up after the holidays, after everybody gets back to work. Patient. Okay, so what do you do? All I want you to do is either pick it up or slow it down based on which type of company you're dealing with. So if you're in the panicker mode, if you're dealing with a panicker, hey, I'm around. I'm available. I'm ready to roll. I love you. I'm willing to move now. So if you would like me to be, accommodating and rearrange my schedule, I'll be happy to do that. or you press your communications, or you send them more frequently than I would normally advise you to do. You get in there, you got to get out in front of everybody who's being patient and all that good stuff. If the organization is being patient and they're kind of pushing you off to the new year, but you need to roll now because, right, you need to pay for that holiday food, then what I need you to do is I need you to communicate with them and stay in touch with them and make sure that you are, to the extent that you can, either just staying in touch, or if you are moving along with your interviewing processes and you've got companies that are looking promising, so you need to communicate that back to the patient organizations. Hey, just wanted to check in, let you know I'm on with so-and-so. I'm going to be going to a final interview or whatever. Just wanted to check to see if you wanted to get engaged before the end of the year. That kind of stuff. So you can kind of play and make the adjustments. Because I know a lot of you ask me every week, you ask me, well, how long should I wait to do this? Or how long should I wait to follow up on the app? Or how long should I wait after the interview? Figure out whether they're a panicker or a patienter, or whatever, we want to call those people. And so I want you to adjust accordingly. All right, so those are, I can't even count. All right, those are the 3 tips, right? So I want you to make sure that you are on high alert for those new opportunities, new positions, new types, new things you might not have heard of or whatever. That's number 1. Number 2, network like crazy. Use the holidays excuse. And number 3, determine whether they're being a patient organization or a panicking organization. All right, those are those 3. Now, I got a bonus for you because it's the holidays and we got to have the bonuses. All right, this one I'm calling my January bonus. January bonus. All right, here's the next thing I want you to do. As you go through the next 6 weeks of interviewing or whatever it is, a bunch of things are going to happen. You're either going to get hired, hopefully, yay. All right, so you're going to go through the process. If you go through the process, so between now and let's say the middle of January, so like the next 6 weeks, give or take, what I want you to do is if you get rejected by any of these organizations, I want you to make sure that you follow up by the end of January. Okay, so what do I mean? Well, I just got done saying that there's those employees out there that drag their feet. They're waiting to see if they got promoted. They're waiting to collect their bonus, whatever it might be. Okay, so those people that you're competing with for these jobs. Well, those companies you're interviewing with, they have those people too. So what happens? Those people leave. People vacate the company that you were interviewing for. Now, don't assume that when that happens, that the employer is just going to call you back. It doesn't mean they don't love you. It's just a lot of times they don't think that way and they're always looking forward. That's just how recruiters are. But for you, if you get rejected and you truly love the company, I want you to go check out, if you have not already, I got a rejected video. It's called How to Get the Job After Being Rejected. So for any of these next weeks, if you don't get hired by an organization that you really like, I do not care what the reason is, check that video out. I give you the exact language as your parting letter to them to go out with some class. I get dozens of emails every week from people who've watched that video, who've done that thing, who've now gotten jobs because of that video. It is my single number 1 emailed about video. So go check that out. And then whenever that is, so between now and January 15th, then at January 31st or really early in February, send them an email and say, hey, I know this didn't work out, but I really loved your organization. I'd love to know if anything is, have you hired somebody for the position? Maybe yes, maybe no. Has anything changed? Has anything new come up or whatever? Trust me, a ton happens between January 1st and January 31st. Why? Because when you put a plan in place, you're planning typically with history in mind. Then you start executing the plan, and what happens? You realize you didn't plan correctly. You need to make adjustments. People left. You didn't know they were going to leave, and all that good stuff. So that will give you another excuse to reach into the organization. You will be amazed at how much will have changed in 30 days. In 30 days. Don't forget to do that. Don't forget to do that. So part with, I got the rejected. It's a combo cover letter thank you email. And it's very, very powerful. All right. So I mentioned a challenge. This challenge is 14 days. The reason the challenge is 14 days is because my lovely wife, Linda, turns 50 right during your live office hours next week, which means I'm not going to be here because we're going to be on a beach somewhere in a bar that she's going to drag me to with a bunch of her friends and my friends, and we're going to have a good time. So I'm going to be back the following week. And here's what I want to do. So that I can get you in motion and focusing on the right stuff that I not just believe, but statistically has proven to lead to success faster and is a lot more fun and will hopefully recondition you in the way in which you approach your search. I've got a 3-step challenge that we're going to do every day for the next 14 days. And I'm not just going to throw this at you because I invite you to email me, and I'll be clear about that in a second. All right. First thing that I want you to do, as in like when we get off this session, is I want you to identify 3 companies every single day for the next 14 days, that's 42 companies, that you could potentially work at. So for all you job seekers out there, 3 companies per day. I do not care if they have an opening. It makes no difference. It has nothing to do with job openings. Find companies that you would like to work for or you could research or think might be a good fit for you based on the product or service they offer or the types of positions they and people that they need, whatever it might be, location, whatever your criteria is, 3 a day. Now, a lot of you can get off this session and go do that in an hour. You could. And I encourage you to do that. But I still would like you, challenge-wise, to do 3 each day because different stuff will happen as you have a steady diet of this each day. You will start to uncover things that you would not if you sat for an hour and banged out 42 companies. So 3 companies a day, 42 companies, 14 days. All right, next thing is at those 3 companies that you identified, can you find one person that you can contact potentially? It could be the hiring official. It could be the recruiter. It could be the HR person. It could be the janitor. It could be the executive assistant. It could be the chief operations. I don't care who it is in the organization. Somebody that you could find, at least one person, doesn't have to be just one person, but at least one person, and put them on a list. That's 3 companies, 1 person per company. So that's 3 people per day. That's the minimum. Then each day, I want you to take 1 step, just 1 step. Is that a song, like just 1 step? Okay, just 1 step to move yourself toward working at that company through that person that you identified. So it could be contacting that person directly, sending them an email, opening up a relationship. I've got a boss hunting cover letter that I'll throw up in the card or wherever when this is recorded. It could be contacting them directly. It could be submitting your resume to them. It could be sending them an email. It could be emailing a friend to contact that person or get an introduction. Hey, I see you know Susie over at company XYZ. That counts. Taking 1 step. So 1 step toward getting to that person. And then you have to get that person to get you in and all that good stuff. Okay, so that's the challenge. Now, if you do the challenge, here you go. I think you guys are all mathematicians. That's 42 companies, it's 42 individuals, and it's 42 steps. Those steps could be emails, phone calls, texts, tweets, fax. I don't care what you do, but something that moves you to reach to that to reach out to that person, to put it in motion, to get you into that company every single day. Now, I have 2 other things on this. The applicant tracking system submission does not count, 0 points. Okay? Putting your resume into an applicant tracking system does not count, 0. Except the only exception is, hey, I found a company. Hey, I found a person. Hey, I emailed the person. The person said, hey, thanks. That's great. Can you put your resume in the applicant tracking system? That already counted. So, but applicant tracking systems count, 0. And then here's what I invite you to do. Anytime between now and December 13th, I want you to email me at support@milewalk.com. Just email me and tell me what's going on. Tell me what's happening. Tell me what you're struggling with. Tell me what you're killing, what you're nailing, what's working, what's happening, all those interviews you're getting, all that good stuff. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that stuff and then I'm going to look at it, and then I'm going to address it a week from Thursday. So on December 13th, when I come back, I'll come back to you. Then we'll go through it, and I'll call out whatever the issues were, and then I'll give you more tips and tricks. But I want to pair this together because I don't want to just throw a challenge at you and not be here for you. I mean, who does that? Okay, so that's the challenge. That's the challenge. Now, where am I now? Okay, I got stuff for you. Okay, I got stuff for you. Let me see. Wait, this I had a list because there was so much. Okay, on Tuesday, I think I mentioned this. I got a video coming up on networking. So that's Tuesday. It's one of those recorded fashion ones. It is about targeting your network and all that good stuff. But I want you to keep this content in mind as you network. So be on the lookout for that. I've got a free live event coming up. Kara, could you put this in the? It's in the description, but can you put it in the chat? I've got a free live, one-time, no replay event on December 14th at noon Eastern. It is job searching for executives as well as professionals over 50. Now, you don't have to be an executive and you don't have to be over 50 to come, but it's going to be some really, really neat stuff. And for those of you that have seen my resume writing class, it's kind of like that. I'm going to give you some emails in advance with some lessons. You got to register by December 10th. So I don't know when you're watching this. If you're here with me live, you know what day it is, but we might be past the deadline. But either which way, I've got that free. It's live. I'm there with you. It's going to be a ton of fun. I got some really cool, slick stuff. All right. I also want to let you know, if you haven't grabbed Interview Intervention, this is the hard book is free. And the ebook and the audiobook and my other ebook, How to Interview the Employer, 75 Great Questions to Ask Before You Take Any Job. All that's free. I shipped this anywhere in the world for $7 shipping and handling. If you have not grabbed it, please do. And I got a couple of neat assessments and checklists. I'm actually going to demo one right now. For those of you who are on my email list, I love Michael Hyatt. I've been with him for years. I've taken a ton of his training. And I enroll in Best Year Ever every year. This is like 5th year running. And so I'm introducing some of his free tools to my community between now and like the middle of December. He's got a life score assessment, is a neat tool where you take it. It's a couple of like 10 questions, different areas of your life. Takes about 5 minutes, gives you a score, gives you a video. And then over the next couple of weeks, he's got a video series that's free and a webinar that's free. I attend all this stuff, but I love it. I've been using it. It's free. I'm bringing it out to you. If you got the email from me yesterday, check it out. You can sign up for his free video series and probably, like I do, email you every couple days with a video. That'll happen. It's awesome, and it'll help you with your entire life, all the major facets that are typically important to people. One other thing is, I don't know, last year, and by the way, I'm going to show you the inside of this here in a minute. If you have not seen this, this is my 10 by 10 job search formula. These are the 10 most important areas for job searching. So wait, I'm gonna show you this here in a second and what's inside it. This is free. I put it in the description. I want you to check it out. This is okay. So here it is. This is the, there it is. There's a little bit about me, so you can have some links to the things that I think will be important. Now, in the spirit of being able to assess yourself, I highlighted the 10 most important areas that I think everybody needs to focus on when they're job searching. The self-assessment, and then I give you some guidelines here. You can rate yourself and all hands. There you go. And all that good stuff. And then it just goes through investigation, marketing yourself, pitching, searching, networking, preparing, interviewing, continuing, negotiating, and so on. And then you add them up and I give you some guidelines. But wait, I don't just leave you there. Okay, so then there's a grid in the back of this thing that highlights each of the areas, the biggest mistakes that people make related to them, and then what the pro tip is that you should do instead. So I give you this whole thing, and it's a neat checklist. it will help you immediately diagnose the problem areas in your search. It's a great giveaway. At the back, there's some other things that we have, but basically you can check that out. Now, one other thing I want to show you guys, this is not a sales pitch because I certainly don't have anything to offer you here, but I want to show you something about my job search bootcamp that I just want to make you aware of, because if you enjoyed some of the stuff that I just mentioned to you, then what I want you to see is, I'm not going to read the page to you. My bootcamp, for those of you that are not familiar, it's my signature course. It covers everything. It is the best deal in town. But I want to make you guys aware of this, that we've got some extra things in the bootcamp that if you are loving this and you are interested, I want you to know this is coming up. And I also want to show you something else. And for those of you that are boot campers that are actually here, I want you to see this. Now, we did a resume session a couple of weeks ago. I covered every single scenario that I could think of that had exceptions to it. So, things like unusual titles, corporate acquisitions, contracting, stay-at-home parents, employment gaps, and so on. But what I wanted to show you here is, if you are loving this, I'm doing a whole session on the 19th in my boot camp. It's a private session in my boot camp where I'm diving deep on a lot of the stuff that I talked with you about today. So if you are interested in the boot camp, I invite you to email me at support@milewalk.com, and I will give you a little discount on the program for the base package. But here's one other thing that I want you guys to see that I've never shown you, and the only reason you've never seen it is because we just put it up the other day. So I know the bootcamp is going to help you find your dream job, but I have built a course that I'm giving to all my boot campers, because after you get that job, I want you to crush it. So I built this $400 career accelerator. It's just like the boot camp. It's 5 sessions, and we go into your first 90 days. We go into the 12 steps that you need to do immediately, like when you start your job, like the day you walk in the office on day 1. What do you do to make sure that you get promoted within that first year? What are the 12 steps that you need to do, and how do you need to plan for that? I take you through my excellence planning. This one here is the idea generation, key to success. What are the projects you should be working on? And then I take you through all my organizational stuff. So all my tactics, everything, master lists, quarterlies, monthlies, weekly breakdowns, how to prioritize, how to know what to work on every single day, all that good stuff. And then the performance review and everything you need to collect and prepare and reflect on, and how to make your argument. So all you boot campers, we got the December 19th session coming up, and then these are so the boot camp is going to be done live in January. So if you are interested in enrolling, then what you can do is you can get right in. Everything's already recorded for you. All the modules are already done, and then I'm going to do the career accelerator with you live in February. So you're going to see me 10 times, January and February. And that's just within the context of this one program. If you're interested in it, let me know. It's totally fun, totally cool, and you have my undying love forever and ever, and we make sure you get to where you want to go. Okay, so that's it. That's all I had today. 43 minutes. All right, if you're loving this, click the like button, share it, and all that good stuff. Let's go to the Q&A. But I wanted you to know that this is really a lot of fun. We've been working a lot of hard on bringing you guys a lot of value on the free side and on the paid side. And I know some of you, you always like to see kind of what's inside these programs, but this is going to be a really ton of fun. So anyway, if you're watching this on the recording, I'll see you next week. Actually, I'll see you Tuesday in video. For everybody else, let me go to the chat. How are we doing here? 172 people. Love it.